My name's Dave Dubeau, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
All right, guys, welcome to Property Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Kaminski, filling in for Dave Dubeau. And have you ever wondered how a young investor from Halifax found success investing in Truro, Nova Scotia? Today, my guest, Kevin Roberts, shares his journey from turning university savings into a real estate empire, all while working a 9-to-5 job and building a powerful network. Kevin, welcome to the show. Ready to dive in and really take a look at your unique investing strategy.
Yeah, thanks, Bryce, for having me on.
So what's the real estate weather out in the East Coast? Because people have been talking about it for years, but you're there now actively in the market. You grew up in Halifax. What's it like seeing the difference between, say, 10 years ago and what's happening these days?
Yeah, I mean, 10 years ago, I was in high school still, so I wish I could have got in the market then before everything kind of took off. You know, in the last couple of years with COVID, obviously everywhere saw a bit of an increase, but I feel like the East Coast was just exponential. A lot of people moving to different provinces, Ontario, BC, when they realized, you know, you can work from anywhere. East Coast is a beautiful place. So we saw lots of growth here. Started to slow down and, you know, interest rates came up, but everyone's predicting another boom here with interest rates coming down here soon. So it should be an interesting time. You know, people are scared, but I'm always trying to buy. So yeah,
it's definitely the pricing is really what drove people out there. And as they bail out of Ontario, they're like, I can't afford to buy anything here. And then they go to Alberta, and Alberta kind of starts to swell up, and they're like, well, it's not so much fun here anymore. And then suddenly the hot topic, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. I bought, you know, and people are like, oh, I bought a fourplex for, I don't know, some crazy number. Like I bought a fourplex for 95 grand or something like that, you know? And so that sort of story doesn't take long for that news to spread. So how are you taking advantage of this market influx?
Yeah, and we've seen a lot less competition. So that's kind of when I started really diving into real estate. I was looking in the middle of everything, but as a single guy at a university, like even the Halifax market was too much for me. So that's why I started looking to secondary and tertiary markets. Truro was probably the biggest town, let's say, outside of Halifax. So I kind of focused on that area and build my network there. That way I could kind of get a jump on, you know, when people start to move out of the city center as population grows.
Do you see that as something that's going to happen in the short term, or is that more of a long-term thing? Like, are they maxing out already?
They're getting close to it. There's lots of development going on there. So, you know, that kind of tells me that it's moving quicker than I originally thought, because just growing up in Halifax, if you're familiar with the area, Truro just doesn't, anything outside of the city kind of just seems minuscule. But now, you know, that town has grown so much. I see a lot of people going there in the short term, but long term, you know, it's hard to say how large it will grow.
Okay, so tell me about building the network team, the team putting it together, and then we're going to touch on the university stuff. So tell me about how you put the team together, what that was like, because you weren't living in Truro, you were living in Halifax still, right?
Yeah, I started really networking in university. I didn't have, you know, I had barely any money. I didn't know what I was doing, but I listened to a local podcast and got connected with some investors. And I think, you know, they kind of probably saw a bit of themselves in me as a younger guy and took me under their wing. And, you know, we kind of had a little mastermind. Eventually that just kept growing, and I met other investors, and, you know, building my team in Truro, I was able to meet someone in Truro that he had about 12 properties there. Great guy. You know, people in real estate, they love to help. So we just kind of got connected. And then from there, just my investor focused agent was helping me connect with other people in the area. And I was able to build a team through basically those two individuals alone. And now, you know, now I have 2 properties there. So continuing to grow in that market and, you know, get new connections.
Yeah, so it is really, you know, one thing that people tend to skip is like putting the team together a little bit. They're like, especially solo. And so I'm a big fan of like putting the team together. Now, you use your university savings to start investing, like university money saved during university, or what's that about?
Yeah, I was in the co-op program we have. It's called here. I'm not sure if it's
Yeah.
nationwide or what have
Yeah,
you,
we
but
had it was similar here. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what it was. I was lucky enough that I didn't need to move out. I lived in Halifax. My university was in Halifax, so my parents were gracious enough to let me keep living there through the university. So I really just had kept my expenses as low as possible. Didn't use that money to buy anything stupid when I wanted to,
Hmm.
and kind of just saved up throughout university at co-ops. I just put almost all of my paycheck away. So when I graduated, it's just what I was looking for.
So if you don't mind me asking, how much did you manage to save if you're frugal? Because co-op pays all right, they pay
Yeah.
like a working wage, but it's like half the year or something, right?
Yeah, and even I was in, different co-ops range different, pays. The business ones are usually a little bit lower, and I found that myself. But I did have some of it invested, just like in the TFSA, just in different equities. But I think when I graduated and was ready to buy, it did come down a little bit, but it was probably around 30,000 maybe.
And that got you your 20% down or your 5% down on that first thing.
5% down. Yeah, I decided I work remotely, so the first one I really wanted to get a handle on everything and learn the whole experience from A to Z of being a landlord. So I did 5% down and lived there for a little bit while I was renovating.
Nice, nice. So you kind of house hacked a little bit.
Yep, my house hacked, did a bit of a purchase plus improvements, and yeah, the rest is history.
So you mentioned that you work remote. So I guess you really do understand what that is all about. Like you don't have to be anywhere in particular. You have to be in front of the Zoom in the Zoom window in the Zoom universe. So um is that what you're seeing as far as people moving out there and hanging out there in Halifax, places like that? Like people just exiting the major cities for, I guess, less expensive property, more house
Yeah,
for the
there's
same price.
there's definitely still a lot of people that kind of gravitate towards the city, but I know a lot of my university friends and a lot of people that I've met, the remote kind of work has changed the way people view, real estate in general, and working and just like life. So I've definitely seen a bit more of a trend towards that. And I think, for someone young getting in the market, it's the perfect place to be because you can still
Hmm.
make that money that you need to while also being able to be flexible with where you buy if, real estate's your goal. So that's kind of what I took advantage of.
So have there been any major challenges you've had to overcome in your journey so far?
I think, the major challenge is just living on a not so great single income as a young guy. Um, it's fine to live on, but to buy real estate, especially when prices are going up and you have goals, to buy bigger things, that was probably the biggest challenge. And
Hmm.
I did overcome it, but there's always going to be another time where I, need that cash or need some more income to qualify.
So far with your real estate, when you look at, what you've been able to accomplish, what do you think the secret sauce is? What comes easy to you that other people find difficult to do?
I think um, it's probably due to my network, but just being able to pull the trigger based on the numbers and just what makes sense versus either having letting fear drive you or emotion impact your purchases. Being around people that are doing big things, ultimately it rubs off on you. So when I was
Hmm.
first getting into real estate, I found myself looking at things that were probably out of the scope of someone that wasn't around those people. So, like I was looking at places with foundation issues and
Hmm.
big, structural issues because that's where the value was, and that's kind of what I've learned from being around these people. So the network definitely made a huge impact on how I view real estate.
Yeah. There's a lot of when you get started, everything kind of looks like a deal. People drag you to all sorts of stuff. And then you realize you don't want to do that. You don't want to get into fixing this, that, and the other. Let the professionals dig in on that. So Where do you want to go in the next 12 months? You know, what are your goals as far as building this portfolio out this year?
Yeah, I'd like to, for my portfolio specifically, I'd like to acquire two multifamily buildings this year. Ideally,
Mhm.
like 8 units and up would be nice. I really want to grow, and then outside of that, I just got my mortgage broker's license, so I want to build that business as well this year.
Nice, nice. You got a lot of a nice real estate adjacent business there as a broker. So, what would you say your biggest obstacle is these days?
These days, my biggest obstacle probably, get it right now, getting my priorities in check because I'm focusing, I want to get these real estate properties, but I'm also trying to build an active income stream here with my mortgage broker side of things that I can
Hmm.
leave my 9 to 5, which is also kind of in real estate. So, um, yeah, so just right now, it's just, putting my eggs in the right basket, I guess.
Figuring out which one's going to make, because you need that early income, right? You need that income to be able to lay it over into real estate in a significant way, or even to like prop up real estate sometimes if things go sideways. So, um, yeah, definitely, keep plugging away at that. Now, when it comes to the deals you've done so far, how did you fund those?
The first one was just through my own cash that I saved up. The second one, I found a joint venture partner for that one, and that's pretty standard joint venture. He put up all the cash for renovations, closing costs, down payment, and I'm just the active partner handling everything
Mm,
else.
nice.
Yeah.
So with with joint venture partnerships and partnerships in general, what's one of your strategies right now that has helped you access money to fund that deal?
Yeah, building my network probably has helped pretty significantly with that. That's pretty much the whole reason I was able to find this partner. I made the rookie
Hmm.
mistake of not finding those partners sooner than I needed to.
Hmm.
Everyone always says, "Oh, like you got a deal in time, or you can find the money," but it's a hard game. If I didn't have my network to connect me with the investor that I actually used, then I would have been, screwed basically.
Yeah, scrambling for sure. Now, um, what are you doing as far as raising money from your existing contacts? Is now that you've kind of understood that OPM is a thing, have you started touching base with, people that friends, family, followers, that sort of thing?
Yeah, and that was actually one of the blessings about this property that when I was scrambling, I started talking to these people a little bit more than I used to and was able to kind of get an idea of who in my network has money that's willing to invest and who's interested.
Hmm.
So, you build some of those leads that eventually here soon I'm gonna touch on again and build that relationship further so we can do some deals together.
Okay, so now let's talk about expanding that network. Like, what are you doing to add more people to your lists to let them know about your deals?
A lot of it right now is I'm pushing my social media, trying to grow and share as much as I can.
Hmm.
Um, and now that I have this deal underway, it feels a lot better to speak about joint ventureship partners, raising money, and being able to provide these capital partners with some value.
Hmm. So what have you found to be the most effective way to keep in touch with these investor prospects you're working on?
Yeah, so I like to meet with these people just to catch up every once in a while. So I,
Hmm.
usually reach out to them and try to grab a coffee or something. And that way we can kind of talk about the deal that I'm doing and show them like, hey, this is what I'm doing for this investor. If we work together in the future, these are the kind of things that we can do together and the things we can achieve.
Nice, nice. So are you find the deal and then the money person, or do you prefer to have your capital lined up and then go to the marketplace, go shopping?
The first time, unfortunately, I was to find the deal and then get the money. Obviously, going forward, you kind of learn that you should be finding the money to go shopping. A lot less
Hmm.
stressful. You can just navigate better. And yeah,
Yeah, you don't want to be walking around the mall, pockets turned out, and you can't actually like execute on a deal. Like now you're just wasting your time in the mall. So
exactly.
when you present your deal to, your investors, how do you go about doing that?
I usually put together a pretty pretty high level summary, and then kind of send over. It's all just this so far. It's been an email. The one I actually got my partner with, we did it in person, but yeah, usually just put together a high level summary of the deal, the numbers, the important parts, and then just present that to them and explain kind of what the strategy is.
Yeah, for most people, you have to really build up that no trust relationship. What are you doing for those sorts of things in your business today?
Those are some things that I definitely need to work on. Other than Instagram and like just posting content,
Mm-hmm.
the investors that I have on my list, some of them, don't see me as much. So that's going to have to be some more meetings, I'd say, and setting up some more networking events.
Yeah, definitely. Now, if people want to find out more and connect with you, what should they do? How do they find you?
I'd say Instagram is probably the best way. I'm usually always active on there. It's KR Properties _.
Nice.
So that's the best way to reach out to me. And I'd love to
Awesome.
chat.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, there's a lot of people interested in that marketplace. So don't be surprised if you get a few people wondering, hey, how can I get involved? So yeah, I really appreciate you stopping by, Kevin. And until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Thanks, Bryce.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.